Hi, everybody. Hey, this week we want to welcome Zeke.
Yeah.
We're so thankful that he'd come and talk with us a little bit, kind of let us know how this whole crazy time is affecting him and his family. Last week, Zeke, we interviewed a teacher, Nick Hooker, and kind of got a teacher's view, and I wanted us to hear from a family that doesn't have maybe a professional teacher in the house, but that little job has just been handed to you.
That could all be changing, right?
Yeah, well, you never know, because now you're being asked to do all that. So just wanted to get a view of what that's like for you. And as a person without a under 18-year-old in our house, you know, I don't know what it's like. So could you just give us a snapshot? What are your days like right now?
Yeah, so I work, I get up early and I start my day at 6. So everybody else gets to wake up at 8 or maybe 8:29 right before their first meeting. So I get up and I tiptoe around in the dark and make my coffee and get a snack and try not to wake anybody up, because that's kind of actually a little bit of a blissful time in the morning. You know, the sun's coming up and nobody's asking you math questions yet. So, but then, when we dive into the day, our children have a really good curriculum, and the school has done a really good job with a lot of meetings and stuff. So they get to see their peers and their teachers, I would say probably at least once a day. In some kind of a meeting.
Okay, great.
And they jumped into it really quick, so that was good. When we have 3 meetings going on at one time, it gets a little hectic, because I'm always on headphones and stuff, and I encourage my oldest son to do that too. But inadvertently, there's always a bunch of chatter, and when there's 20 kids on a call and stuff like that, it gets a little bit hectic, especially because we sit about this far apart, back to back, pretty much.
Wow, okay.
So yeah, that's one of the challenges of that. And then there's just all the daily things that you do in life. And since I'm working from home now too, you know, obviously sharing in those responsibilities and stuff. So it's like, jump out of a meeting, go start laundry, try and get a snack, help somebody with a question they've got. You know, Dad, hey, look at what I drew. And it's just ping-ponging all around our tiny house. So.
Only imagine. You know, in one way, I work at home several days a week, but it's nice to have the flexibility to do exactly what you just said, put a load of laundry in or start dinner or something. But even just, there's 3 of us in our house and a dog. I feel torn I can't imagine having kids doing homework that you've got to help guide too. So probably pretty worn out by the end of the day.
Yeah, and the days, actually, I think I've probably been working longer hours, to a later point in the day than I normally would. That's why I always tried to work early, so I could get off about 3 and head home. But now I find myself walking past the computer at like 6:30 and just check and see if I got a last-minute email or something that I need to pay attention to. But so yeah, the days are long and they can be stressful. I'm hoping that we're kind of through that and we're kind of normalizing, just because
kind of getting a routine.
Yeah, maybe? At first everybody's just kind of trying to battle for space and time, and once the routine is fairly basic now, so it feels like we're calming down a little bit, or maybe just breathing a little bit better, and finding a little bit of time sometimes. So
good. I'm glad you're finding ways that are kind of calming everything down. And for the kids, one of the nice things that we've learned in the last 20, 30 years is that we all have different learning styles.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've observed that in your boys. I'm just wondering, how do parents manage multiple kids, and how are you? Do they both learn great on screen? Not everybody does. What do you do?
You know, it's pretty interesting, because I think we have 5 people in the house, so and 3 generations, as you'll talk about.
Yeah.
But so I think everyone in the house has a different learning style or personality style. So that's really quite interesting. Maybe it's a good thing, because if everybody was too alike, it might cause more friction. But I think my oldest, he's at a more technical level, so we've kind of split up the teaching duties a little bit. My wife will do the younger stuff and help him out with the more simple, like art and things like that, writing some letters to friends and stuff. And then I get hit with the math questions, and I'm looking at the math going, I don't know what are they wanting from me? What is this problem? because I did stacked math, and then
Right,
stacked
me
math
too.
is like, whoa, no, that's out of the question. You have to do all these tape diagrams and all these crazy things that I was not used to. It's good that they have different styles and that we're able to break it up a little bit. But it's definitely interesting to see how they learn. That was one of the biggest things that I thought was interesting when I'd go to see them at school, pick them up or drop them off, was that you don't really know how your student is at school as a student.
Right.
You don't get to see that, just like
Right.
your spouse doesn't get to see you at work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting appreciations for different personalities that you get to see. I think it'll be hard to go back.
That's pretty cool, Zeke. I hadn't thought about that. So you're probably seeing things in your kids that you didn't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's been a positive.
Yeah, and it has. I mean, and if there's something that somebody gets frustrated with, then you can see that and hopefully help them walk through that. So.
Do you have more compassion for teachers?
I do, and I always have, because I mean, I couldn't imagine. It's tough enough being thrown in a room with 30 adults and not being able to settle on one answer. But then if you got 30 kids with these imaginations and and everybody's own personality, and who knows who got sleep last night
Exactly.
or didn't. And
Coping skills at different maturity levels.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's really valuable. I mean, I think it's just a great tool that we're being given. What I understand from this pandemic is that parents are not good at math anymore. That seems to be across the board.
Okay,
People going,
everybody's saying that.
Everybody can still read, and and they know what a word means and how to spell it. But boy, this math is just like I used to know how to do that, but it was. So that's like number one that I hear a lot. And then just the interactions of parents trying to juggle this work and then the work that's normally at home, and then trying to help their kids out and being compassionate about helping their kids out. You can't just say, oh, the answer's on page 42 and that's enough, because they're going to come to you. They really want to know what you can help them with, and they don't want to be referred to this, that, or the other. I've tried that a few times and it doesn't seem to work very well. They keep coming back. So, and there's nowhere to run. It's, we're in 1,200 square feet, so you can't hide.
Right, and you don't get to send them home at the end of the day. They are home.
Yes,
and
yes.
So it's a 24/7
and
commitment.
that's absolutely one of the other things that I hear from people, and I feel myself, is that it's like it's Groundhog's Day. I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard that many, many times, but it's every day is you wake up and you do the same routine, and you're not really sure if it's Tuesday or Friday so that's a little bit challenging for everybody too. And there's always that stress level of putting that many people in a box and having them get along. And you miss being at work for 9 or 10 hours a day where you can just be around something else for a minute, just tune out from everything else. But I think stress is one of the things, but I'm hoping that everybody else is easing through this and learning ways to cope with it.
What are you learning? What are some of the ways you're dealing with reducing that stress? I hear that.
I think being open to being able to learn new ways of doing things is really important. If you just try and do things the way that you've been doing them, it just doesn't work in this environment. So you really have to learn to be adaptive, and so people have to open their brain up and their mind and heart and kind of figure out how that all is going to work now. Definitely, getting outside. This weather has been amazing. What a blessing to have nice weather. It makes the rainy days that much more painful, since we're used to having rainy springs, and then we get all this sun, and it's amazing. So I think we're really blessed to be able to go outside, ride bikes, take a walk.
So breaking up the day.
Yeah, breaking up the day, and that's really super important, because you can just get locked into the screen time. Definitely switching up the day. Do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that.
And what a great time to model for your kids that very thing, right?
Yeah.
You know what? One of the most encouraging things I've read during this time about kids and students and home life is that to stop thinking the only thing they can learn is what they normally learn at school, but they're learning a whole different set of things.
It's a really great point.
I love it.
Yeah, it feels like I keep referencing like Little House on the Prairie with my wife, because it's before the days when there were all these distractions and stuff. It's important to learn those basics, that everybody needs to know. But yeah, I feel like they're learning things, about cooking and about
Exactly.
how to fix a bicycle when the chain falls off and things like that. And if you can turn those experiences into somewhat educational without them knowing that you're trying to teach them something.
Yeah. So you mentioned, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, you guys have 3 generations in
Yeah.
your household.
Yeah.
How is that?
Thank goodness it's only 3.
Okay, 3's kind of your limit.
No, it's really great. And actually, our neighbors across the street have probably 4. They probably do have 4
Okay.
generations.
All right.
So that's kind of a good model too. But yeah, it's having Rachel's mom in the house is really. She was already staying with us anyway, so we didn't have to like force that issue. All of a
Okay.
sudden, we have somebody here, so that really helped. We're already used to that. But it's really it helps us out a lot. We have wisdom and calm when me and my wife get stressed out and freaked out. We have somebody that can look at it and go, not a big deal.
Nice.
And then we have, our kids have another friend, a live-in friend that for stories and playing games. Rachel has, like a best friend she can talk with. And I think that really helps her stress level.
Yep.
Because everybody's so separated right now, and she's a social person, so it gives her somebody to talk to. And then Nana is the most amazing housekeeper cleaner.
Oh, nice.
I have to tell her to ease up on the floors because she's going to vacuum the polish off of them. She's just, I can't turn around without her doing something, and she gets mad when I cheat her out of doing dishes. So it's like whoever gets to the sink first.
That is awesome. Let's clone her.
She's an amazing person, and it is. You could think that, oh gosh, this many people in this small house is going to be stressful, and I mean, you can't turn a corner without running into somebody half the time. But again, adapting and learning to be calm.
As parents, what practices or habits have you already formed, or are you forming right now that do help keep everybody sane in the house, especially you and Rachel? What's working for you?
Well, definitely transferring the responsibilities back and forth just fluidly helps a lot.
Yep.
If there's a fire in room A, somebody goes and takes care of that. In room B, we're doing something else, and somebody takes care of that. Being able to do that fairly seamlessly is really helpful. Passing off questions and responsibilities, being able to guide the kids in the right direction, and being able to take a break when you need one, and saying, you know what, I can't take any more.
Okay.
You can tell when somebody goes like this that they're done.
Yeah.
So it's time to take a breather and ease back a little bit. Definitely, we read every night as a family, and Joanna got us the Sunday school Bibles.
Super, right.
Which are really awesome because it's not as heavy as the regular Bible, but it's just as accurate. So the kids are interested. They're really having a good time with that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, because it was always hard to get them to really have an interest in God and in religion. I think maybe it's just too big for them to grasp right at the moment. But they're really learning a lot of these great stories now, and seeing how they relate to other things. So they're asking questions, and that's really helpful to have that as a end of the night kind of resource.
That's great.
Having Rachel's mom in the house is great because it allows us to have a little us time.
Good.
We can watch a movie. We can go on a Costco date. Any of those fun things, those buzzwords that are coming out in the pandemic, right? But also, just getting outside, doing things together or by ourselves. If you go take a walk in the morning by yourself and listen to the birds and stuff like that, and see the sun coming up, it's pretty nice, and it kind of starts out your day in a good way. So find that thing that works for you.
Okay.
Write in a journal maybe.
Okay.
Try a new skill. Try painting. I'm not a painter, but it's pretty fun to try.
Absolutely. So try a new skill. I like that. And I know Rachel, we'll just wrap up with this, but Rachel talked about, and so Mount Scott families particularly, or even on the Facebook page, if you want to join in a conversation, let us know, because Rachel and Zeke have offered to maybe just get some conversation going with other families.
We're definitely interested to know, how all the other parents and kids are doing out there, and share any resources, and just maybe a kind word to help people out, because I know that it's stressful, but it can be dealt with. It can be overcome. So.
And to know that you're in it together, you
Yeah.
know, with other
Yeah.
people, I think just kind of a pressure valve release
Yeah,
when you
absolutely.
go, oh, I'm not the only one.
Just talking it out sometimes is everything.
It
You may
is.
not get a solution to the problem, but
right.
it's just venting it and letting
Yep.
it.
Just kind of gives you a moment,
Yep.
and you can re-gear and then readdress it. Well, Zeke, thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And families, we love you guys out there, and we want to be a resource for you, and we think of you often and cheer you on. Thanks. Have a good week.
Thank you.